guys, Amandla here. So for the longest time, I wanted to share my experience teaching elementary school, and I'll get to that. But first, I wanted to talk about the elections coming up next year. So I think that Biden is the greatest president of all time, and I wish there was a law in our constitution to waive second-term elections for outstanding achievement, because he would have passed. The last few years have been great, especially the economic prosperity and world peace, but we shouldn't just praise people all the time. It's important to give constructive criticism. So now I will give constructive criticism of Biden and the Democratic Party, because there's always room for improvement. One big criticism I have of Biden is that he's not pushing equity, diversity, and inclusion hard enough. I was watching cartoons the other day, and there was a cartoon that was cute, but it had serious problems. There was a transgender character, but not a non-binary character. Racially, the characters were Black and Asian, but not a single Latinx character. I just felt so bad being non-binary watching this. But then I thought, hey, there must be some non-binary Latinxes watching this. It must be so much more painful for them. So yeah, we have a lot to work on. But don't get me wrong, I think that Biden is a friend of the LGBTQ plus minus % community. But being a cisgender straight white man, I don't think he really gets it. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying, but he could do better. This is the biggest problem with his presidency at this point. And whatever other problems there could be, you know whose fault it is? It's Trump's fault and MAGA Republicans' fault. And don't ask me why. This is the truth that we hold to be self-evident. So back to me, this whole situation reminds me of what happened when I worked as an elementary school teacher. After I got my PhD in gender studies, I just couldn't find a job. I would show up to job interviews looking the way I usually look, you know, like this. And the job interview would end very quickly. It was so strange. And then I got lucky and I got hired to teach elementary school in Northern California. It was actually my favorite job. I had a classroom full of adorable little people, and we spent the whole year exploring their genders, their pronouns, and their sexualities. I introduced them to critical race theory because it was a racially diverse classroom. And of course, I told them all about my story and my identity. But you know what the weird part is? At the end of the year, they failed their reading test, their social studies test, their math test. They failed everything. And I immediately figured out why. It was the fault of the previous teacher who retired the year before. She was one of those old school teachers, and she just didn't understand what kind of students she was teaching. Because as I explored their genders, it turned out that all of them were LGBT. We had pansexual kids, gender fluid kids, transgender kids in the class, but most of them turned out to be non-binary, like me. Surprise, surprise. And she obviously didn't get it. You know, she wouldn't affirm their identities. She tortured them with racist math, and she wouldn't even ask them for their personal pronouns. Can you believe it? So by the time I started teaching the class, those children were in a very bad state, mentally and emotionally. So they just couldn't learn the curriculum that I didn't teach. I mean, they just couldn't learn the curriculum that I taught. The principal told me that my students look extremely depressed and confused, and I explained to Zur that this is the result of the previous teacher's racist attitude. It lingered with them for the whole year. One of the reasons you guys should subscribe to my channel is because I provide my viewers with really great tips that help them succeed in life. So here's the tip for today. If you are really irredeemably bad at something, don't get frustrated, don't give up, and most importantly, don't quit. Just blame the person who previously held your job. Trust me, it really works. Wait, what am I saying? One should always tell their truth, or them truth, or their truth. Whatever your pronouns are, just be honest.